Good day. Well, I'm loving this dazzling blue kale. These plants are about 3 foot high. The leaves are about 2 foot long. This is my hand. They've got this wonderful purple rib. Some, like this one here, is more curly than this one. I'm not sure which I prefer really. But yeah, that's definitely more curly than this one. I think that's the curliest. That's sort of nearer like Cavallo Nero. Still with the red tinge though. But you know, such a fantastic flavour. And they might start vying for the title of my favourite brassica, which at the moment is definitely Portuguese cabbage, which if I lift you up a bit, are on the far side. They're most probably maybe 3.5 foot at the moment, so just a bit bigger. The leaves are bigger than these Dazzling Blue Kale, but you get more leaves on the Dazzling Blue Kale than you do on the Portuguese cabbage. So it really is quite a toss-up really. Gosh, and the sun is now coming out. Yay! That's been a bit eaten. As I was coming to the plot today, I saw these on the sharing table. They're iris. So I've taken some and will pot them up or put them into, maybe putting them into the flower border bed would be better. Yeah, I won't be doing that today, but I will be doing that at some point. So a bit of a harvesting day today. I didn't get round to doing the carrot and bean stew that I was going to do. So that I think I will get on with and do this evening. Well, and I'm just going to sort of bung onions and herbs and the carrots and the demi-sec beans that we've got in the freezer into our Instant Pot and put it on for, 15 minutes. So pretty easy. I think we might have a baked potato with that though, which reminds me I need to harvest some Colleen potatoes because we've got no potatoes at home, so I do need to harvest some of those. I think we've got about 1/3 of that bed left to harvest before we move on to the Sarpo Mirror, which are our main crop, and that's the first year that I've grown Sarpo Mirror, so it will be interesting to see what they are like and how they have fared in that bed underneath our, is it a tree lilac or tree honeysuckle? I can never remember. I must remember in future. But it's not a particularly rich bed. However much we enrich it, I think the things around it, like the ceanothus and that tree shrub, take up quite a lot of nutrients and water, of course. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. But yeah, it's quite humid. Even just doing that small bit of picking, or taking the nets off the picking, putting the nets back on, harvesting the carrots, and just having a general wander around to see how things are doing, it feels quite humid out there. And I had a sort of minor bit of perspiration going on before I came into the shed. When the sun is out, it's feeling quite warm, and when I'll just being ridiculous now. When the sun is out, it's feeling quite warm, and when the sun isn't out, it's just feeling warm. Oh, I've just seen, oh, I've got a evening primrose out, which must have self-seeded into our flower border bed because it wasn't there last year. Actually, I was going through a whole load of photos this morning because Google was telling me that my maximum capacity of storage was coming up, and I was going through things, and I came across me marking out that flower border bed last year, and it sort of quite amused me. You just look at it and it was just literally edged out. There was nothing there. It does need a good tidy. The whole plot needs a good tidy. We're getting to that time of year where everything is beginning to lose its luster and to change colour. Well, not everything, because the brassicas aren't. And certainly the Brussels sprouts aren't, which are of course another type of brassica. But the most of the other things are beginning to. Even our carrots here, which are for harvesting really until the end of October, they're beginning to lose their vigor in their leaf, and some of the lower leaves are beginning to change colour. That's not going to affect the flavour at all, and I'm certainly not going to rush and harvest them to freeze for storage, because I know they will be fine in that bed. Yes, some of them may get a little bit eaten, but they will be fine for us over the next 6 weeks or so. Dad used to harvest the carrots, and then he would pack them into sand, and that sand box would sit in our garage. We had quite a big garage. I mean, I'm talking about 50 years ago, when garages actually were big enough to fit a car and walk around, and not be jammed up between the side of the car and the garage. I mean, there's some garages that are built on houses now, they don't even fit a car. So what's the point of even building a garage on the side of them? But anyway, yes, let's not have a modern rant from Paul today, because I can go into them. So yeah, that's it. I've done my harvesting. I've done my waffling. I'm going to think about the other jobs that are going to be going on this week, which hopefully will include the Marvel of Four Seasons lettuce seedlings being pricked out and popped into modules. They're looking all good. If you were watching yesterday on Planet Vegetarian, or you watched last week's A Week at the Plot, you may remember that I had forgotten to put them into a tray with no holes in, and we had quite a lot of dry weather whilst I was away for 2 whole days, and the soil really the compost really got quite firm. Having given everything a really good water, it's all absolutely fine. So that's great, but they will need pricking out, so that's a job that I'm going to be doing. Oh, and one other thing that I got quite excited by, I have been strimming down a raspberry for much of this year. It's not in any of our soft fruit beds, it's just outside the soft fruit bed by the gooseberries, and I've been strimming it down because I didn't want it to grow. Anyway, with the squash having grown over it, and the whole sort of summer that we've had, it did grow and it has fruited. And you know what? It's the type of raspberry that I absolutely adore. I like all types of raspberries, but I adore yellow raspberries, and it's a yellow raspberry. So even though I was trimming it down for months, it's found its way up, it's hidden itself from me, it's shown me that it's a fabulous yellow raspberry. And of course, what am I going to do now? I'm going to make sure that I dig it out at the end of this season and put it into a soft fruit bed. Where we put our summer fruiting raspberries, the 4 summer fruiting raspberries that we put in, those have not taken at all. The autumn fruiting ones have, the red autumn fruiting ones, but not the summer fruiting raspberries. So you know what? Those yellow raspberries, I think there's 2, maybe even 3 that can be split apart. They will go in place of the summer fruiting red raspberries that didn't take. Isn't that another little bit of synchronicity? Isn't it? You know, yeah. Right, waffling, waffling, waffling. Maybe we should rename the Monday segment Monday Waffle. Anyway, I'm going. See you again very soon. Bye. Good day. It's a rather calm day down here today. Lovely weather, nice and warm with a beautiful breeze that's nice and cooling, so not getting too hot in any way. I had a gastroscopy yesterday and also a blood test in the morning, so I didn't get down here at all yesterday, which was fine. I'd planned not to be down here, so I knew I wouldn't be. And everything's looking very similar to how it looked on Monday when I was down here. One thing I need to get on with is more harvesting of beans, both demi-sec for freezing and adding to soups and stews, and also dried beans, particularly the Madeira Maroon and the Golden Gate, and also Shaz's Scarlet Emperor runner beans, actually, for drying, for both seed saving and also for drying to eat over the winter months. So those will obviously need to be reconstituted for eating. Let's just have a quick look at the Tarbais. These speckled ones here are our Tarbais beans, and you can see they're sort of fattened up. There's 3 fat ones in there, 3 fat ones in there, a few more in that one, not sure if you can see. But this is the state that we're picking these as demi-sec to go in the freezer, and these won't need reconstituting before cooking. They can go straight into the soups and stews that we make over the winter. The ones that are drier, I'm not sure if you can see, these are actually Canadian White here. Quite a different bean, and as you can see, not speckled. Hopefully you can see not speckled. And those I'm keeping mainly as a dried bean for growing again next year and for reconstituting. So from the Tarbais, I'm taking hopefully most of them demi-sec so that I don't have to reconstitute them. Also, another job I want to do today is looking at the pricking out of the lettuce. Just as I was passing these Bird's Egg Horticultural, I noticed these 3 which I'd left here are ready for harvesting demi-sec. So I'm going to be taking these off. Might as well do it now. Podding them, and then these beans inside these pods I will add to the ones we did last week that are already in the freezer. These are our Marvel of 4 Seasons, I think, and I'm just going to prick each of these individually out and pop them up into individual modules. I think there's most probably about 20 plants there, which is enough for what I wanted, though you might remember I did want 8 of 2 varieties, but I don't think any of the Northern Queen germinated, which is a shame, but hey ho. Be happy, I'm very happy with these 20. Indeed, there were 20 there. So these have been pricked out and potted on into these modules. And I'm just going to leave them out here. They've been outside in their seed tray for ages, for over 4 weeks. So there's going to be no issue with the fact that they might be too cold out here. And also they're the right varieties of lettuce to be sowing and growing at this time of year too. As I say, these are, I believe, Marvel of 4 Seasons. Right, so that's that job done. And I'm just going to have a potter about. I've just had a look at one of the squash that we've got growing, one of the fruits that we've got growing on the volunteer squash. And as I had a look at that, there were various frogs on that path. So it's certainly not a strimming day today. But in fact, it's so... When I came down here, there must have been a heavy dew last night because the grass is completely saturated. Yeah. Right, I will leave it there and I will see you soon for another segment of A Week at the Plot. Bye. Good day. It is a Friday afternoon, just gone 3:30. My thermometer gauge says it is 33.4 degrees outside at the moment. That's in the sun. It says it's 22.2 degrees in the shade. And it is warm. I mean, it is warm. It's been warm for a couple of days, though we were in Avebury yesterday and it was quite cool in the morning until maybe about 2 o'clock when the sun came out. It was quite overcast and quite cool, but that was great because we were walking up to Windmill Hill and back. So it was nice to have the cooler weather whilst we were doing the walking up to Windmill Hill and back, which was great. There's quite a breeze. And the good thing about this time of year with a nice breeze and good sunshine and nice warmth is our seeds begin to dry in their pods particularly well. So I've got Golden Gate here and Bird's Egg Horticultural on, well, this side. And we've got more Golden Gate than we need, but that's absolutely fine because we're going to be taking part in a couple of seed swaps locally. So I will have Golden Gate seeds to swap, which is absolutely great. We'll also have Madeira Maroon to swap as well, though they are taking longer to dry on the vine at the moment. And yeah, and the Bird's Egg Horticultural, which is like our Borlotti style. I just love it so much. So those are 2 beans that I know I'm going to be growing next year. I will also be growing, I think, the Tarbais. I will definitely be growing the Madeira Maroon. And I will definitely be growing Shaz's Scarlet Emperor runner beans. So those are the definites. The Canadian White I might leave for a year, but I've got plenty of seed. I've also got helder seed from Vivi, and we've got some more helder seed here that we're going to save ourselves. So I might do some helder next year, but if I don't do them next year, I'm making sure that we've got seeds for future years, and they will just stay in our fridge and they will be absolutely fine in their packet in an airtight container with a silica sachet or two in the airtight container. And I also got a lovely surprise. It wasn't really a surprise because it was something that I bought, so it wasn't a surprise. But yesterday I did an order with Tarbais Organics for some garlic, because one of our subscribers who gardens through us vicariously asked whether we would do our normal messidrome, but also do some more thermidrome, do some messidor, and do some primor. So I said, well, yes, but we're not planning on doing that. We've got our own messidrome cloves. And this subscriber, who wants to remain nameless, said that they would pay for the purchase of the garlic. And I thank them profusely. Of course, I'm happy to grow along with people and to take ideas on board. What I don't want is for other people's ideas to cost me when we're trying to keep our costs to a minimum. So you know, a huge thanks for this person's suggestion of paying for the garlic. So I ordered them on Tarbais Organics yesterday, and I also ordered some seeds for our next growing year. Goldana turnip, Giant of Italy parsley, fresh seed. This is all fresh seed. Carrot Autumn King, carrot Amsterdam forcing, which you may remember is the one we did a couple of years ago, but I couldn't find it last year. So we ended up just doing our Nantes and our London market. Then Brussels sprout Groninger, because even though I'm going to save seeds, if that doesn't work out, I want to have a backup, and we don't have any spare left. And then finally, beetroot Chioggia, a great favourite of ours. And what I've done is I've bought the Chioggia in a big packet, in a 25-gram packet, because I know, again, in the fridge, they're going to last an awful long time. They will be viable for many a year. I was looking all over the screen then because I thought my battery was about to give out, and sure enough it did. Not actually the battery. Sometimes my camera phone just decides to stop filming. So, and before that happens, the screen goes dark, and it went dark and I was going, oh, is it still recording? Is it still recording? So yeah, Chioggia. Now, the wonderful thing about a number of seed companies, and Tarbais Organics is like this, is you can buy different size seed packets. I know that sounds sort of like obvious, but actually most seed packets that we get, you can only buy, you know, one size of seed packet. So you can see here that this is Goldana, and this one with the green is called a gardener's seed packet. And then the difference with the beetroot is that this is obviously black, and this is 25 grams of Chioggia beetroot seeds, which is quite a lot. We are hoping to grow some Chioggia seeds to full-size beetroot and then let them go on and produce flowers so that we can save seeds from them next year. But I know Chioggia is something that we always like with beetroot, so I reckon I've got most probably enough seed here for maybe 3 or 4 years, which is great. Tarbais Organics is also where we got the Sarpo Mirror and the Colleen early potatoes for this year's growing season. I haven't dug up any of the Sarpo Mirror yet. Maybe we'll do those a bit later this week, though I've got some Colleen to take home with me today. And that's sort of where I am with seeds at the moment. I'm looking at catalogues. I'm looking at what we have in our Tupperware in the fridge, and where I need to buy seeds for next year's growing season, because I might as well get ahead. You know, I don't want to get to a point next year where I think, oh, I want to do Amsterdam forcing, and because it's not such a well-grown variety, it's difficult to find. So I saw it on Tamar, thought, yes, I'm going to grow those again next year. And then the seed saving side of things, you know, seed saving and also seed harvesting. So when we're seed harvesting, really we're harvesting mainly for our food, and where we're seed saving, which is a different type of harvesting, but it's still harvesting, of course, we're doing that to have seeds to grow from for next year. It's exciting times. It's exciting times. Yeah, it is. And I have noticed that the coriander that we sowed the other day, maybe a week ago or just over a week ago, that has germinated. No sign of the parsley as yet, but you know, it can take 20 days or more, even in good growing conditions, for those to germinate. So I'm pleased that the coriander is out. That's great. They are most probably going to go into the polytunnel over for overwintering, and hopefully we'll have some harvest from that before they get going again in the spring. And if the parsley comes up as well, that is likely to stay there as well. I do have some fleece, so I could do a tunnel in one of our beds, and I guess that's going to be my thoughts in the coming weeks about where things are going to go. But of course, now that I have received the garlic, I need to determine which bed I'm going to do the garlic in, and I am now totally 99% sure it's going to be in the bed that we prepped last week. So right, I'm going to leave it there. I will see you again for another segment or two of A Week at the Plot this week, and I'll see you then. What we'll be doing, I do not know, but I'm sure we'll be doing something. Bye. Good day. It's really quiet down here today. Haven't seen anyone on site yet, which is unusual, especially for a Saturday. There is quite a lot of activity, preparation activity going on at the local pub, because they're having a craft market there today. A couple of our plot holders will be there selling sewed items. What do you call that? Sewing things. Flowers, and also one of the plot holders' sons does art. So they're all there today, which is great. I'm just going to be going around tidying. I want to sort out that net, put it up properly. The peppers over there I want to sort out as well. There are some that simply are not going to produce, so they might as well come out and go into the compost heap. I'll be checking out the squash over there and cutting back any growth that is unnecessary. The growth here, or not the growth, the leaves you can see in the carrot bed are really beginning to die back now and revealing carrots. So I'll be doing some harvesting there. I've looked at my Amish deer tongue, which this one is, and actually we've got plenty of seed, so I'm not going to be seed saving from this one, but I am going to be seed saving from another one, another lettuce behind me. Oh yes, I wanted to talk about my insane chatter the other day. I was saying that these speckled ones here are Tarbais, but actually these are Tarbais. You can see the white seeds inside. These, which have got white seeds with a sort of brown speckle, are the Canadian White. I was watching the video back the other day and I thought, Paul, that's completely wrong. You're pointing at the wrong pods. I obviously wasn't thinking at the time. Yeah, quite a lot of tidying up to do, including over here, sorting out those chairs. They're going to have to go. Oh, yes. Oh, and I'm going to talk about organic slug pellets at some point as well. I've got some tools here. I've just been taking a few posters off the gate. That in that bag is a wildlife camera to go back to Ealing Wildlife Group. They're picking it up later. Oh, I'm getting stuck. This is... Oh yeah, look, this is the... Oh, I've dropped one. This is the raspberry I was mentioning, the yellow raspberry. Look. Lovely. None on that one. Well, they were, but I've eaten them. So yeah, I'm going to remove it from down here and put it in the bed over there. Yeah. In fact, let's go over there because I can see something else in my tummy. I'm going to have to avoid this path because there's lots of frogs in there. Gosh, everything really is beginning to... Well, you know, it's autumn. Oh, yes, this is the lettuce, the outrageous lettuce that I'm saving seed from. We'll do that in a minute. I need to chop this up and put it in the compost bin. But if we come over here, we can see some raspberries from the autumn fruiting raspberries that we planted earlier in the year. So they have clearly become established, whilst these summer fruiting ones here, yeah, you can see they haven't taken at all. But you know what? My favourite thing is autumn fruiting raspberries, so I'm not bothered about that. And then I was talking about this fruit that is developing over here on this squash. It starts here and goes across the path, which is very unkempt because there's a lot of frogs, so I need to be careful of my foot. But there's the squash there. So that one's developing. That looks like a cheeky prince or potentially a crown prince. Whatever it is, it's a volunteer. I didn't put it in. Oh, right. Yes, tidying to do. Lots of tidying to do. And I'm going to get on and do that. Yeah, and I think I'll see you again later or tomorrow. We'll just have a quick one here today. Oh, let's just go and have a look at the sedum. The sedum hasn't done too well for us this year, but I do love the fact it's colouring up in this way. Look at that, just gorgeous. Right, I'll leave it there. See you again soon. Bye. That is these brassicas netted, the ones that we found at the back of the polytunnel about 4 weeks ago, 5-6 weeks ago. The length of the netting is actually enough for 2 full beds. So you can see I've left netting on the far end. The reason I've done that is because I've noticed that our beetroot, which are developing there alongside our turnips, the squirrels are taking a bit of a liking to them. So I'm actually going to keep those netted. I'll most probably hoop them tomorrow because I just don't have the energy today. But I have done quite a lot, so let me just pick up the camera and walk you around what I have done. I started in the pepper bed and have left these paprika peppers. I'm going to have to ask Vivi if these are ripe. They're sort of yellow. But actually I think I'm going to pick them shortly anyway, and then try and keep that pepper over winter at home. And I've also got this pepper here which I'm going to try and overwinter, and one over there. The beans I'll deal with another day, and the weeding of this bed. Then I moved on to the squash bed, and I harvested our uchiki curry because the vines had died back. Where the vines have still got fruit on them, I've left them in. But the next job I think is going to be staking these Brussels sprouts. And I think that one there, over here, no, here, is going to be the seed saving one. I think it's either that one or this one here. I trimmed the paths. I haven't raked the paths, but I have trimmed the paths. I took out the deer tongue lettuce that was there, and that's now in the compost bin. As I say, we've got plenty of seeds. This bed needs a bit of a weed, but you can see how the beans are really dying back so quickly. And a few harvests over there on the table. There's some beetroot and Colleen potatoes. Then I didn't trim this path or the one next to it because of the amount of frogs in there. All of this has been trimmed. I weeded this bed and have given it a little feed. I've taken all the cucumbers out of this bed and just given it a really good weed. More trimming. Our seedlings. Oh, our coriander. And look, there's some parsley which has germinated now. So the parsley is germinating. The lettuce we transplanted the other day are doing fine. I've taken all the courgettes out of this bed, but I haven't weeded it yet. There is a nigella there. Can you see that? Lots of nigella seed pods here. Yeah, that's a bed that needs a weed. I also weeded our asparagus, trying to keep them clear. This asparagus, I'm not sure if you can see here, is growing really quickly, but look, the asparagus goes up there, up there, up there, up there, up there. Gosh, that must be about 5 foot. More things I need to get onto another day. But Paul, concentrate on what you have done. These are knackered secateurs. That's the dog thing that we found, brought in by a fox. I was checking the temperature. You can see it's 19.5 0.3 at the moment. And then look at this find. 2 I think, or 4 huge bits of cardboard. So that's great. I'm going to get that into the decrepit shed in a minute. And then coming in here, our carrots have had a really good water. And then our tiny harvest of uchiki curry and also cucumbers, which will be made into cucumber curry. I'll try and do that in the next couple of days. So actually, it's been a busy Saturday, and that's been good because I really needed the space down here today. I can hear that the Fox pub, which is next door to us, has got some live music on, which is rather lovely, drifting across. But yeah, I feel as though I've had a really worthwhile Saturday and got a lot of stuff done. Right, I'm going to leave it there for this week's A Week at the Plot. I'll see you next week for some more segments. And whatever you're doing, I hope you've had a good weekend. Bye.